Certainly a crazy time to be alive. There's no doubt evil is rising. But for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. All right, Lindsey Williams is here, and he is here to take your calls. We appreciate him joining us. I'm doing a fourth hour today. We got Bob Chapman on the next hour. We'll take calls for your financial questions, geopolitical questions for myself or Bob Chapman. Since we got Lindsey on a little bit late, I skipped a break, and we're going to have him 5 minutes to the next hour. Then Bob Chapman will join us. Then I'm doing a fourth hour today with Max Kaiser, and we've got Gary Franchi, who has that amazing TV ad running, exposing what those of us that know Ron Paul already know. He's obsessed with individualism and not religion or color or any of that. And that's why he's against all these wars and against mandatory drug sentencing and the rest of it. And that's why the system hates him. So we're going to be talking to Franchi coming up and playing that ad here as well. But Lindsey Williams is our guest right now. Lindsey, let's go to the phone calls here. Let's talk to Frank in North Carolina. Frank, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, Alex, thanks for taking my call. I live in a city comparable to Austin, Texas there, here in North Carolina. And I am noticing an increase, like, you know, and Ron Paul supporters being outspoken and calling into radio shows. And it's encouraging to see that he's starting to get some traction.
Oh, we're getting reports all over the country of people out with signs on the streets. I mean, look, the system knows he's the front runner, and they're scared. And that's why, I know I'm interrupting you before you get to your question, but first they said hackers were going to attack, and then I said, watch, they'll make the counting secret. And now the RNC is taking it to tally it at a secret location, and it's making the tallying at the local area secret. So there's no doubt they're telling you Romney's now in the lead so they can say Ron Paul's 7th place or something. I mean, or they'll do 3rd place or something. They're getting ready to do what they do as criminals. I mean, these are criminals. These are criminals that lie about WMDs, you name it, that have the federal government sticking their hands down your wife's pants to train you you're a slave. They are hardcore criminals. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, but other than, you know, some outspokenness, some activism on the, you know, the local 50,000-watt station, Alex, I'm not seeing any sign of any awakening at all around here. I mean, the people are complete zombies. They have no clue what's going on, as far as I can see. Now, maybe they're just being quiet about it. But, I mean...
Well, look, let me explain this to you. Let me explain this to you. I am very well known now. I'm in some well-known movies. Never tried to be in movies. Rick Licklider, nice guy, called up, put me in a few movies. I have been all over national TV. I have millions of radio listeners. Our YouTube channels have over 300 million views. So hundreds of millions of people worldwide know who I am. So I get to have experiences other people don't, because people recognize me, they know me, so they'll talk to me. And I can go out on the street now, and every 3rd person stops and shakes my hand. So there are a lot of people awake. There are also a lot of people who don't feel like they have any power and are just thinking about their car payment and getting home, and you know, they're hungry, and their boss is mean to them. But there's always people who don't count and who are on the sidelines because they don't want to count or don't think they count. But it was 5% won the war against the British. We got way more than 5%. Lindsey Williams, what's your take on this?
You're exactly right, Alex. In fact, you remember back last May, I came on your show and I said price of gasoline or the price of crude oil is going to $150 a barrel. You remember I came back later and said, the elite, in fact, I told him, the elitist on the phone, I said, you really hurt my credibility. You told me it was going to $150 a barrel. Now you're telling me that you're going to hold off for the rest of the summer. I said, what's going on? Well, when I got down to the base of it, I found out they had to back off. They didn't have any choice. You fill up that SUV for $200 a barrel, people begin to wake up. And as a result, they backed off on the price for a while just to keep you out of the loop. They don't want you to know what's going on. They don't want you to get excited. They want to do everything in their power. And then I came back on and I said, you're going to keep the price of gasoline right about where it is for the next number of months because the elite had to back off. Too many of you were waking up. You're right, Alex. They are waking up in mass out there. But this is going to shake them to the core when we have the devaluation, I'm quite sure.
Yes, sir. And again, the caller, you know, chin up, my friend, but I want to give you my word. I don't come on the air and give you pep rallies and tell you that people are waking up to make you feel good. This is not campfire stories, okay? I mean, if you heard my show 10 years ago, you didn't hear me talking about a big wake up. I was, saying, my gosh, people are going to come a wake up. And just as an individual dedicating myself to truth and liberty, I have reached thousands of times the people I ever imagined I would. I just couldn't sit by and watch this happening, so I thought, well, I'll start fighting, and, there's others out there fighting. And so, look, I don't want to get into this again, but 20 years ago, Ron Paul couldn't get a single co-sponsored audit the Fed. It passed the House this year. They killed it in the Senate. But we'll do even better. 4 years ago, Ron Paul didn't get a fraction of the support. Look where he is now. Too bad he's going to be probably a little too old next go around if he doesn't win this time. But the ideas are there. I've talked to Jim Tucker. I've talked to Estlund, people that do have Bilderberg Group sources that have proven stunningly accurate, just as Williams has. And I mean, I was told, yeah, Obama's going to be here by Tucker, and then 2 hours later, here comes the motorcade into the Virginia hotel, while the mainstream media says nobody knows where Obama and Hillary went. They shook the media, and there they are. I mean, that's how powerful Tucker's sources are. And too bad he's getting, really old. But the point is that all of this is happening. All of this is going on. And in those meetings, and I'm talking about Bilderberg in 2006. They were talking about Ron Paul in the official meeting. And they were talking about him even more this year in Switzerland. And, yep, guess who else they talk about? Lindsay, they talk about this radio show. I've not just been told that from you. I've been told that by others. I mean, they are scared, and they better be. They're a bunch of criminals, Lindsay.
Well, Alex, not only do they know about your radio show, I told you this back about a year ago. I said, Alex, you are in their crosshairs, because some of them had said something to me. And then I didn't say it to you, but I'll say it to you now. I talked to your producer a while back off the air when he asked me to be on one of your shows, and I said, they know Alex Jones's personal home phone number. And he said, where in the world did you get that? I said, from them. And they know exactly what you're doing, Alex, and they're scared to death because you're one of the greatest voices out there. GCN Radio is blasting it everywhere. People are waking up by the millions. Last summer we took a trip from here to Oregon and back. And I'd go to one place, and I didn't even want to be known. I went to a convention someplace, and I didn't even want to be known. I said, let me sit in the back. I don't even want to be up on the platform. It wasn't 24 hours before they had a crowd of people that wanted to hear what I had to say. Alex, you're right. They're waking up. They know you're out there.
But that's why they haven't killed us yet, because there's Ron Paul, there's Lindsey Williams, there's Bob Chapman, there's thousands of prominent people now. And you know what? A lot of people out there get into this patriot stuff for some of the right reasons, but they get competitive and want to be big stars. Folks, being big in this means you are in the crosshairs walking point. I am so happy when other people are prominent. So happy when people get more attention than I do. I wish Glenn Beck was totally for real. He has gone the right direction in many ways, because I don't have a death wish. And the only reason they haven't killed us, they would 30, 40 years ago, they killed a lot of people, is because back then they were trying to keep it down. They failed keeping this down. Now if they kill us, it highlights, it underlines everything we've said. But it doesn't mean that we're still not in danger. It is your prayers. Folks, remember, God is real and is in control. Lindsay, what's your take on why we're still alive?
Oh, you're exactly right, but I'm going to go a step further. Why have these elitists, just within the past few months' time, started giving me more outstanding information than they ever gave me when Ken Fromm was alive? There's a reason why. There are a few of these people who are old and decrepit in their 70s and 80s who themselves are concerned, and when I talk to them on the phone and when I get emails from them, Alex, I am amazed. There are some of the retired elitists today that are in some ways thinking like you and I think, to the point that they say, as Ken Fromm said to me a few years ago, Lindsay, I'm too old to care. Just go ahead and give them everything. Folks, you have got to know what you're facing in 2012.
Exactly. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you, because I want to go back to calls. This is so powerful, Lindsay. Look, being in the elite from my historical research is like a prison. A lot of these people, that's what Dr. Labo, who I know has treated some heads of state, one head of state told her, I don't like this New World Order. I don't like the population reduction. I don't like what we're doing, but I can't get out of it. It's like the mafia or the CIA, and we give the whistleblowers and the insiders who aren't pure evil a chance to repent. And when we see that historically, we see it in the Bible, where powerful, wicked people who aren't totally wicked repent. We see it in pop culture. Darth Vader repents. And again, people are like, oh, now you're using fiction. The point is, that's a pop culture example. There are many people that now, as this new order gets closer and closer, that a lot of the leaders are compartmentalized themselves. They were told this world government was to help people. Now they know it's not, Lindsay.
Yeah, once they get to the age of the elitists that I knew back 35 years ago, these people themselves are very concerned. And you're right, Alex. They are stepping out and themselves saying things, and then they'll turn around and, okay, let me put to this, and I can't go too far on the air. You'll please forgive me. There's certain things I can't say. But they'll turn around and say, Lindsay, why don't you go here and look for this? And Lindsay, Chaplain, go over there and look, and you'll find the answer to this. And then they'll have somebody else to call me on the phone like they did the other day. Somebody sent me an email that they had told them, I think they told them, at least to send it to me. And whenever I got the information, I knew exactly where it came from. They didn't want it to come from their computer. Alex, these people themselves, the older ones, who are from the generation a time or two back, they're getting concerned themselves, and they have told me everything that is going to happen in 2012, and we put it in this new DVD series, 2012, the beginning of the end, and you've got to know what to do. You don't have to worry about the currency devaluation if you have taken the...
No, you're right. In fact, people can find that at prophecyclub.com. Let's go back to the calls before you leave. I'm going to dig out that number. We're going to give it out, Lindsay. Let's go to, because I'm hogging all the time here saying I'd go to calls. I'm bad. Ironhead in Washington. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello there again. I don't believe it twice in 1 month. I feel like this is better than 72 virgins. Anyways. A quick spiritual comment. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the beast has been cast down, knowing he has but a short time. I think both of you guys will agree that this is a spiritual battle, and that's why so many around us refuse to wake up because they don't have the spiritual discernment.
No, that's it. The devil sends the beast with wrath because he knows the time is short. And I'd sit in Sunday school and, read that when I was a kid and wouldn't really pay attention to it. But now I study these evil people, whether you believe in God or not. They run around ravenously, killing, stealing, and destroying because that's their nature. People go, well, why does a serial killer do this? Because they like it. They're compelled to do it. Lindsay comments on what Ironhead said.
The devil is on the rampage. You're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. He knows his time is short, and he's taking advantage of everything he can do with the new world order, new, young, elitist. And the old ones, Alex, as I've expressed before, the ones giving me information now, are becoming very concerned even themselves. That's exactly right. Satan's on the rampage.
I mean, look at the bioweapons. Look at all the stuff they've developed. They're not in control of all of this. Why would they develop the super weapons they've created? Because there's a dark force behind it that wants to blow this planet up, ladies and gentlemen, because that entity hates God's creation. You love the creation? That's just a manifestation of the Creator. I'm not going to start preaching here. This is real. Ironhead, anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. What I really wanted to get to, and this is the crux of the matter, most people, I've never heard any of your great associates, such as people I know like Bob Chapman, or anybody talk about position limits. Most people who own gold and silver do not understand that Goldman Sachs, Chase, AKA, all of them, do not have positional limits. As long as they have computers, they can run the trade any way they want.
No, that's how they keep the price down. But now physical really costs more than what the paper says. So it's cooked. It's cooked. What was your final point on that?
Okay, but let me finish this point. What has to be understood by people owning gold and silver, they can run the price of gold and silver down to zero, and they're going to do that without a doubt. They're going to run it to zero. Most people who do not understand the markets, have never traded contracts like I have for 20 years, they do not understand that you can take this thing to zero. They will sell into a failing market, and that's why the concept of free gold has to be understood by everybody on this planet. And that's what I want Lindsay to address with next time or anytime he talks to Mr. L, that we have to get everybody to understand that do not sell into a falling market because they can drive it to zero. And the weak hands will not know what's going on.
Well, no, they could manipulate a really big drop, but when they do something fake like that, it'll bounce straight back up even more with more force from my research. So, yeah, absolutely. If they do a panic or something, which they could pull, absolutely. I mean, they've done this a bunch, though, not to the extent you're talking about. I appreciate your call. Let's go to another one here.